I'm doing like, well, if you watch Big Brother, I'm doing like a Quinn confessional. What's up, y'all? Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's doing well. And as I always tend to say, if you're not doing well, I hope that you're managing. And if you're not managing, I hope that you just get through the day so that you got a chance to do better tomorrow. Because if there's a tomorrow, there's always a chance for things to get better. This is just a friendly reminder to y'all that no is a complete sentence. And I remember I didn't really think so because I had people that would ask me things or ask me to do things, and I felt like I had to explain myself. I felt like the only way I could say no is if I had an explanation. So, for an example, if somebody wanted me to go somewhere with them, hey, there's this event coming up, this and that day, and it's not something that interested me or something like that, I would feel like unless I had an excuse of something else I was doing, no, I'm doing this other thing, or I have this other obligation at that time. Like, I was that person who would actually make something up that I'm doing as a way to get out of that thing that I don't even have to do, that I don't have to make up an excuse. And I remember there was a point in time when I just got tired of that. And somebody was like, hey, Mark, are you free on such and such day? And I was just like, just ask me what you want. Like, just don't ask me if I'm free. Just tell me what's going on that day and time that you would like me to participate in. Hi, Colleen. So they were like, oh, such and such is doing this thing on this day. So will you be able to come? And I was like, no. And this person was like, no. They were so shocked that I said no. Not just that I said no, but that I said no and I didn't give any kind of an explanation as to why I said no, because I realized, why do I have to give you an explanation? Secondly, that doesn't even just apply to going to somewhere or helping somebody with something. No is always an option. Like, everything in life, you can say no. Even at work. Because oftentimes your managers at work are habitual boundary pushers. So you get in that job, and if they're like, hey, Mark, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you do this? Can you do that? And if I'm like, okay, even if I give pushback, if I do it anyways, that boundary line is going to keep going further and further and further out. If people demand things of you and you keep doing them, the boundary line is just going to keep getting further out, and further out, and further out. Once people realize that you're willing to say no and you're willing for them to be upset, to not like your answer, to feel like, they can't coerce you or control you, then they're going to stop going to you. I'm literally having that experience right now in some multiple facets of my life. Technically speaking, no is a complete sentence, as in it has an implied subject and verb. Thank you, Professor. So yes, that is grammatically correct. That is the most important comment of the day. So yeah, like, I don't know if you've ever experienced telling somebody no for something that they expected you to just be like, yes, or to be like, no, and here's why I can't do it. But it's a really freeing feeling. Like, even like I was saying at work, you get a job description. Your job description is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? and then they add HIJKLMNOP. And it's like, well, it's your job. We need you to do this. But it's like, yeah, but we got into a negotiation. And during that time of negotiation, this is what I agreed to. So in some ways, I know that in some ways jobs change, but I'm not really talking about an overall change to a structure of a job where your duties just kind of change. I'm talking about you're told this is the ceiling for the amount of work that I'm going to get, and then they're pushing the ceiling up and up and up, and it's not based on. So the organization might have an overall need for higher numbers, let's say, and really the way to get those higher numbers is to hire more employees to be able to achieve those numbers. But they're like, why hire more employees when we can just make the ones that we have currently do more and say that they have to do that? I mentioned this one before, and I know that a few people might remember it, but a lot of people might not remember it. I was in another job before the one that I'm in right now, and they came to us one day, the administration came to us one day, and they were talking to us about this suicide prevention course that they said is now mandatory for us to take. And so I was like, okay. They came in actually, and they had a meeting with all of us staff, which was myself. I was working as a peer specialist at the time. And then there was the doctors, the psychiatrists, the psychotherapists, the nurses. It was just the whole clinical staff in the room. And then myself and the case manager and the psychiatric rehab specialist, which are not considered clinicians. And they said, who in here has done this training for suicide prevention? Or who in here has not done this training, actually? And I raised my hand. And they were like, no, you don't have to do this because you're not a clinician. So it's not technically something that you are required to do, but we would love for you to do it. And I was planning to do it anyways, not because of the company, but just because for myself, I'm going to take the free training, get the certificate, and it's just something else to add to my resume, whether it benefits me at that company or wherever else I go. So I was only working at that particular location 2 days a week, I think Wednesday and Friday. So I came back in on Friday, and my other two coworkers were like, man, this is crazy that they said that if we don't finish this suicide prevention training by this day, we're going to get fired. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? How did we go from telling me that this thing is optional to telling me that if I don't get it done by this date, that I'm going to be fired? So I was like,